Hey everybody, welcome back to the franchise.
You've got to come back with me. Where?
Back to the franchise.
We are back doing another episode of Star Wars, our last recap episode before the new movie comes out. Milestone moment right here.
I could not be happier.
Oh, that's a low bar. Okay. That's where Tanner's happiness lies. All right. Well, I'm sorry for your life. Anyway, allow us to introduce myself. I am all the Sith. It's me, Timothy Glenn. And he's all the Jedi. Is Tanner Wilcox.
Oh, thanks for giving me the Jedi part.
Yeah, I thought about it, but, sequentially, Sith comes before Jedi in that scene. So,
Sure.
keep it appropriate. Yeah, you can be the light side. I can't wait to talk about that movie, by the way. There's so much to say.
Dude.
Anyway, and if you guys are weekly listeners, you will know that we have episodes every Tuesday, except for last week. We debuted our episode on May the 4th because it just made sense we're doing Star Wars. Put it a day early on a Monday on May the 4th. So you're welcome. But otherwise, Tuesdays. Although, Tanner, I am sorry that I totally forgot to mention in the episode while we were recording that it was a happy May the 4th episode. So we totally missed that, but it was.
Well, that's fine. I think the listeners, they got the picture.
I just feel like I kind of let them down. I mean, I can remember saying Patrick's Day episodes, but not May the 4th for Star Wars. Like, come on.
Well, it's nice to see which holidays mean the most to you, Tim. St. Patrick's Day, you and your Irish snakes.
Anyway, let's get into it. The last episode of the Skywalker Saga, episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Release date December 20th, 2019. Directed by J.J. Abrams, written by him, and also Chris Terrio. And guys, as always, if you have not seen this movie yet, we are going to spoil the ever-living Sith out of it. So please, go back and watch it. Or, some would say don't. I think Tanner would say don't.
I would say don't.
But Tanner, let's dive into it. What is your personal history with the movie? First time watching it, time since, etc.
My personal history with this movie was obligation.
Obligation.
By
whom? Who dragged you to it?
By myself. I'm not a quitter, Tim. Mama didn't raise no quitter, but she did raise a complainer. I will finish things. I will see them through. I will get to the end of this saga, but I will complain about it.
Right.
Yeah, so personal history, none, really. Again, no nostalgia. I did watch this in theaters in its theatrical run. But I went into it with substantially less excitement than I did Last Jedi because the results of that film. So we'll get to that.
Yeah, you and I are the same in terms of us being like sunk cost kind of people, like when we start something, do you have all the DVDs of Star Wars?
Yep.
Okay, so all of them, not all, like even the spinoffs?
No, I don't have Clone Wars.
No, but you have Rogue One and Solo.
I do, yes. And I have my Blu-rays of Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker were purchased right as they were released, and they were still in their shrink wrap until I rewatched them for these podcast episodes. So
that's a good way to keep the value if you're going to resell them,
Bought them, haven't watched them since. Probably won't watch them again.
I'm not like you in that, it has to be a franchise that I will watch anything, like any bad entry in. Otherwise, I won't bother buying it again. I don't need to complete my shelf in that way.
Oh yeah, I'm a completist. I need to.
One of my friends came over the other day and they're like, "Oh, I see you have Spy Kids 1 and 2, but not 3, 4, and 5." And I'm like,
"Oh, well, I mean, I only have Spy Kids 1 and 2."
Exactly. But then that yours isn't complete too, it's because you don't have the whole trilogy.
Well, yeah. You know what I just realized the other day?
Yeah.
I went to go find Toy Story 2 and I don't have it. I only have Toy Story 3 and 4 on Blu-ray, and I don't have 1 and 2 because I had them on VHS. So I had to go buy Toy Story 1 and 2.
That's even worse because you have the back half of the quadrilogy.
I was going to say, I have the worst 2.
3 worst? No.
No, 3 is good. 2 is my favorite.
Okay. I
Yeah,
think any of the original, the first trilogy is the correct answer.
I
There's
will.
no
Four is the worst.
four is, I always say, is the best movie I wish didn't exist.
Yeah.
So yeah, I saw this in the theater too. I saw this with my Gen X friend who, grew up with Star Wars, and this was kind of like billed as the end of Star Wars. And I have more to say on that later on in terms of how they approached it like that. But yeah, I mean, it kind of felt like a perfunctory kind of viewing for me and everybody else there. Just kind of like, all right, I heard it's not very good. The last one was kind of disappointing. Here, we're gonna sit down and finish this goddamn thing. God damn it! So you know, that's what happened. And I have not rewatched it since then. This is my first rewatch since theaters. It's also the only main Skywalker Saga entry I don't have on disc, DVD or Blu-ray. So I watched this elsewhere this time. All right, so let's dive into pre-production. So let's travel back to August of 2015, just a few months before The Force Awakens came out. The original director of this movie was one Colin Trevorrow, who had just had a $1 billion box office movie that summer with Jurassic World. He was going to write and direct the movie, and he, I don't know if I was super jazzed about. I mean, I liked J.J. Abrams coming back or doing the first one, and I liked the news of Rian Johnson doing the second one because I liked both their movies. I thought they would fit well. Trevorrow, though, I mean, Jurassic World it's good enough, I guess. It doesn't inspire confidence that he's gonna knock out the final chapter in Star Wars, but he
Mm,
did do that. He did do that movie Safety Not Guaranteed from 2012. That was his big indie movie. Did you watch that?
I don't remember that movie. The title I
Oh,
remember, but
I mean, it is truly great, and it is worthy of him getting noticed as an indie filmmaker. It stars Aubrey
wait, is
Plaza.
that the Aubrey Plaza one?
Yes, and she like responds to an ad in the paper about time traveler. It's like,
Yes, yes, yes.
what's his name? Mark Duplass. Yeah, great movie. But I don't know if I would see that and be like, oh, we got to give him a Jurassic movie or a Star Wars.
Again, it comes back down to like, did I watch Nomadland and thought, oh, I'm going to give this girl a Marvel movie? Nope, but they did.
Well, I'm sure that Marvel movie money is nice to have for someone who's been slumming it in the in the dregs and having to make a name for themselves. But
True, true, true.
I mean, they're just looking for us to be someone malleable, I guess. Someone that the studio could be like, oh, this is your first movie. Well, you can't push your weight around. This is your first big movie.
I just want to say, if you can hear me chewing on these corn chips, I'm so sorry, but I'm glad that you missed me while I was eating a popsicle earlier because I was hogging down on that thing. It was full deep throat status, and I don't want to know what it would have sounded like on the mic.
I don't.
Although, you want to talk about ASMR, that could have been my other internet side job.
Oh, emphasis on job, apparently.
Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Tanner, guess what the original title of this movie was called?
What?
Star Wars: Duel of the Fates.
Ooh, you know what? We can get into that because I have a lot to say about the original idea for this movie.
Oh, you do?
Uh huh.
Have you looked up like the original script ideas and like treatment and whatnot?
I sure have.
Okay. Yeah, it was way different originally. They more than the other ones, they really took a left turn on this one. So yeah, we'll
Yeah.
get into that a little bit. Um, I mean, just talking about the title though, I think, I mean, when I think of Duel of the Fates, I think of the music from Phantom Menace, obviously. So
Obviously.
that might have been confusing if they did both. If he mentioned Duel of the Fates, like what are you talking about? But I mean, Rise of Skywalker is not my favorite title of these movies. It's
No, it
kind of
also doesn't make
confusing.
sense at all.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking about the Skywalker like as like an ideal, but yeah, it is kind of like which Skywalker, who's rising. Like it's just, especially since like the last Skywalker just died in the last movie, and
No.
this one's gonna die in this one
Have you not? Do you not recall the end of this movie?
with Leia. Well, I mean, what you
No.
mean with Rey? Yeah, I'm saying like
Well,
yeah,
they
it's the
say,
rise of.
"What's your name?" And she says, "Ray." And she's like, "Ray what?" And she goes, "Ray Skywalker."
Right. That's the whole idea. I don't
Yeah,
like it.
and it's so stupid. She's not a Skywalker. What are you doing?
She's keeping on the tradition of the Skywalker
I know,
legacy.
I understand. I'm just saying that from a traditionalist name standpoint, it's not anybody in the fucking galaxy could walk around and say their last name's Skywalker.
My last name is Skywalker now, actually. Did you not know?
Mine too. Is that
Oh, cool.
impactful to you? No. Thanks, Hollywood.
But in terms of what did make it into the movie from the original script, Duel of the Fates, things that were in the movie were Kylo finding the Sith hologram on Darth Vader's Mustafar castle. The concept of force energy transference, so like the ending where Rey passes Ben a lightsaber through the force. The Star Destroyers basically just being, more mobile Death Stars with their super lasers. The Lando bringing in a fleet of cruisers at the very end of, quote, just people being their backup. And Chewbacca's medal was also in the original script. A lot of which I don't really like. A lot of that stuff. Can we talk about Chewbacca's medal for a second? Like, what a fan service at its worst.
I don't like it.
No, and rightly so. I mean, it is weird that Chewbacca doesn't get a medal in the first movie when he's standing up there. Like, why is he not getting one? But in terms of this movie's universe, like, just to have Maz give Chewie a medal at the end of this movie, like, just him, it seems a little bit universe breaking because, like, they never talked about why he never got a medal. They never acknowledged like he should have gotten a medal. So why is it suddenly getting a medal?
No, and for him to get one now and for nobody else when there's a whole other slew of heroes. Plus, why would Maz Kanata be the person to give out medals? She's not a general. She's not a chancellor. She doesn't. There's no political reform that's happened.
Well, what else did she do in this movie?
Nothing, because again, it's better than her bouncing around Cloverfield
Hologram.
camera angle from the last one.
Yeah. And in terms of the other plot points, I also want to talk about the Lando, his Deus Ex Machina with, like, he gathered up the people of the galaxy because they were all in one place, I guess. And then was like, follow me. And they all went into, I guess, I mean, and when they say just people, like, the average person is not going to have a Star Cruiser.
No, and isn't the whole rebellion made up of just people?
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Like, the rebellion's not all soldiers and like military personnel and government officials. They're just people who don't agree with the Empire or the First Order.
And they became soldiers because they wanted to.
Because they're rebels.
Right.
It's a militia.
They're rebels. I'm a rebel. I rebel.
Yeah, I don't. And even then, I'm like, okay, you sent out a huge signal for anybody and everybody who was available, and nobody came to help you, and nobody was available. So, would they all just freed up their lunch plans for this fight?
Yeah, it feels like a lot of movies just kind of had this beat, at the end of the movie. No, I know what they're trying to go for. They're going for the idea, the theme that the people are stronger than the government, which is not a new thing, but in terms of Star Wars, when they were thinking of ending the saga, as it were, they wanted to hone in on that one in particular as the catalyst for the First Order's demise. But I don't know, it rings kind of hollow to me. It kind of forced, no pun intended.
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody loves the story of like the ragtag group of everyday people who rise above and, take out the tyranny of the Empire. It seemed very easy. It's like, okay, where did everybody else learn about this battle and how did he gather everybody in the galaxy now? I don't know. It seemed lazy to me.
And it might have hit better had we not just had basically the same third act 5 months earlier, or no, 7 months earlier, 8 months, I don't know, spring, with another Disney movie where you have somebody saying, hey, on your left, and then bringing in a whole battalion of people, and if you don't know what I'm talking about Avengers Endgame. It's basically the same exact beat.
Only in a much less cool way.
This is less cool, or that's less cool?
This is less cool. At least Endgame gives you, it's cool because it's all people that we've cared about for 10 years,
Right.
This is just like, okay, cool, a bunch of shitty ships that no one's ever seen before. Awesome.
Yeah. And speaking of Avengers beats, and it's crazy that there's so many similarities between these two movies, and that despite the fact that they're the same studio. Like beat with Ray at the very end that I use in the beginning of this episode, the I am all the Sith, I am all the Jedi. It's almost the same exact like tonal beat as I am Iron Man. Boof, you know?
Yeah.
And again, it's worse than that. Number one, it
Well,
doesn't make sense.
Disney has one thing that makes a lot of money, and they just pump it out every 17 movies until people are like, we're sick of this. We've seen it all before.
Okay, well, Tanner, let's get into the Duel of the Fates original script. You said you had some stuff to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would have been a cooler idea. I think it would have definitely been a lot darker and maybe more of like a sci-fi kind of horror, but I think it explores at least a little bit more of the continuity between Last Jedi, where Rey is really struggling with like her temptation of the dark side and trying to save Ben. So I think if it's
Mhm.
going to go into like the duel of the fates between light and dark, it would have been, I think, a more interesting story, and I think it would have given us a lot more like Sith lore that I think people wanted. Because especially with this one, there's a lot of questions that still they're answered but very vaguely. So,
Mhm.
you have Poe, who's like, "Oh, we've learned that somehow Palpatine's back," and it's like that's the only explanation we get. Through some ancient Sith magic, he returned, and it's like, okay, again, that seems like lazy, easy writing because there's nothing there.
Yeah. Well, it's
And
half-assed.
and if you're gonna explore like Sith powers, and then you could tie it back all the way even to like the prequels when, Anakin was tempted by Palpatine to go to the dark side because he had the power to save Padme from dying. Like, again, you don't ever really know if that's true or if it was just a lie to get him to join the dark side.
Mhm.
But if you were actually going to explore those kinds of like meddling with life and death powers, go into it. And then I think there would have at least been like a shred of continuity because I think there's big continuity errors with the sequel trilogy anyway.
Sure. I mean, it's all basically the whole trilogy is them just negging on what they did before.
Yeah.
Like nope, not that. Sorry, just kidding. This. Just to get into what was in the original script from Trevorrow in terms of very general things. So, number one, no Palpatine, which I think a lot of people would be happy about. Kylo Ren is the main villain, which we talked about. That's what we wished would happen when we were talking about Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Finn leads a stormtrooper rebellion on Coruscant with Rose. So his arc kind of comes a little more full circle as well from the first movie, that is. Rey is still a nobody, so that is not undone after Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, it sounds darker. It sounds a lot more interesting. Rey struggles with the dark side, which I wish we got more of in this one. But yeah, if you haven't read up on Duel of the Fates, I mean, I'm not saying it would have been it's one thing to look at a plot summary and say it would be a better movie when it doesn't exist, but it does sound like a more interesting option than what we got. So anyway, let's go back into production. So in August of 2017, they hired a guy named Jack Thorne to rewrite the script, but I don't think they use any of it because in September of that year, Colin Trevorrow is out as writer director of this movie. And do you remember when this happened, Tanner?
No.
This was, and again, like this was shortly, I think, after the whole Solo debacle with the Lord and Miller being replaced by Ron Howard. So it seemed like a very Disney director cutting happy time for them. But so officially, he left production over creative differences. Whether he was fired or he left is not clear, but that was the main reason. However, he debuted a little indie movie. Well, maybe not indie is not the right word, but a smaller movie in scale, called that summer called The Book of Henry. Do you remember that?
I do not.
Yeah, it's terrible. It it was not written by Colin Trevorrow, but it was directed by him. It starred Naomi Watts. Dean Norris from Breaking Bad, Jaden Martell, Jacob Tremblay, and it's basically about this kid who is a savant or whatever. Like he's on the spectrum somewhere, but he's really, really smart, you know?
Okay.
And there is a girl next door, I think, who is the daughter of like a police chief or whatever, and she's being abused. And the kid kind of orchestrates this plot to kill him because it's for the greater good, you know? And it's awful. This movie's terrible. It doesn't work at all. It was written in the 90s. So it was a script that had been like just floating around, idling for 20 years or more.
Oh.
So it didn't really, it was noticeable. Like you watch it and like you're like this feels like a 90s movie, even though it was filmed in 2015. And it got really lambasted online by critics and audiences. Didn't make a lot of money. It was pretty much despite its small budget, it was a bomb. And so people often blame that movie or suspect that Disney caught wind of that and said to themselves, "Oh, did we pick the right guy for this?" And panicked.
I just don't know why studios don't trust directors. You know, like I feel like there's directors that have good movies and bad movies.
Spielberg, for instance, you know, one of the most legendary directors of all time, has his duds. AI is I hate that movie. It's the first thing that came to mind. But I mean, it all comes down to wanting to control the end product, and they wanted to hire a guy who seemed very, very skilled but lacked the clout to push his weight around. So, and then when they saw that movie and they thought maybe he's actually not that good, they said, "Well, it's canon, I guess." But apparently, they said that they read Trevorrow's script and they said it was unsatisfactory. So, well, not Trevorrow's script, his co-writer, his partner, Derek Connolly's script. Yeah, so they were
So that was the reason for firing, was because the script was unsatisfactory, we think.
that's what they've said. Timing wise, it was suspicious, I guess is all we can say. And because they want to, and this is probably the biggest mistake they make in terms of like their plan for this movie, is that after this whole thing goes down and they feel like they got burned by Trevorrow, they want to play it safe from now on, which is completely in my opinion, the wrong way to go about it. Like,
Why?
well, I mean, nothing about this movie feels bold, you know?
Yeah, I would agree. It all feels like tropes that we've seen before.
And so they get J.J. Abrams to come back, who did The Force Awakens, of course, to write and direct, with Chris Terrio co-writing it as well. So an entire retool of the script. And I'm sure that somewhere along the way, the polarizing reaction to The Last Jedi had some influence on this. You know, Disney probably got cold feet by the Star Wars fans, you know, decrying its subversiveness. I mean, I don't think anyone would disagree when I say they overcorrected here.
Yeah, for sure.
They did have discussions, though, with David Fincher, weirdly enough, for replacing Trevorrow, but he declined.
Which, didn't they talk to him for Force Awakens?
It was one of them, yeah. I know we've mentioned him before. I think it was Force Awakens, yeah. I don't really. I mean, I love David Fincher, but I don't see him doing a Star Wars.
No.
He's never really done like a genre sci-fi before. Like he does, when he does genre, he does thrillers, but not, you know, fantastical stuff. Anyway, before they in the pre-production stages, they also changed the release date of this one from May of 2019 to December, probably because of the, you know, delay in production with the whole swapping of everybody involved. And they hard swap release dates with Aladdin, their live action remake.
Really?
Yeah, so Aladdin was originally going to be their Christmas 2019 movie. And then when this was all going down, they needed more time with Star Wars, they decided to push Aladdin up and move Star Wars back. So Aladdin came out in May instead.
Oh.
Which worked out for them.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they originally had it the other way around, because, I mean, Force Awakens was such a huge hit in December. And Solo was not a huge hit in May. So I don't know why they wouldn't just keep December in terms of, you know, family audiences.
Yeah.
And Aladdin still made $1 billion. So in terms of the writing phase of this, I only have one other note at this point in the production. is that Kathleen Kennedy, the CEO of Lucasfilm or whatever, president, I forget, required that Kylo Ren have a redemption arc in this movie at the end of it. So
Oh.
they were going away from, making him the big bad entirely.
Which I don't think works.
I mean, I don't like what they replaced him with, that's for sure.
No, but I feel like he's just like not doing anything in this one.
Yeah, I was thinking that too when I was watching it. Like, I like how in this one, all of our heroes are kind of together for the first time ever, really. Because in the last one, when Ray's like, "Hi, I'm Ray," and Poe's like, "Hi, I'm Poe," and I'm like, "Oh shit, that's right, they've never met before." So I like that we got like an adventure with them, but at the same time, Kylo gets nothing to do. He's like playing catch up the whole time. I mean, the original script of this movie would have ended with Kylo's redemption anyway, but in this one, they made it much more gradual. His turn.
Well, yeah, and I just feel like the build-up, like the original one, I think probably would have had a more redeeming build-up for like a redemption arc.
Mhm.
This one, it seems kind of like, okay, I guess he's good now. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't like. Well, I got a whole thing about Palpatine later on, but I don't like how they do the same thing as in Return of the Jedi, where it's like, oh well, we can't have our protagonist and an antagonist fighting each other, so we gotta invent a new, big bad to have them team up against at the end. And that was like I thought that was the whole point of them killing Snoke in the last one, because that was the subversion of that idea. But
Yeah.
nope, they just bring back Palpatine, and he's the big bad now.
Ugh.
Okay, let's get into casting. So again, Daisy Ridley coming back as Rey, Kelly Fleming playing a young Rey again, Adam Driver as Ben Solo / Kylo Ren, John Boyega as Finn, Oscar Isaac as Poe Dameron, Anthony Daniels as C-3PO, Jonas Suotamo as Chewbacca, and of course, Ian McDiarmid as Emperor Palpatine, who was, surprisingly, I read he was hesitant to return.
Well, I would be too.
Yeah, trust your instincts, Ian. But then they gave him a bunch of money, so, can't turn that down.
No. And then what else is he doing?
True. I mean, I would want anybody else to play him, but...
Well, no, but I mean, the character should have just been dead.
And that's what he thought too. When they called him, he's like, but he's dead.
But he's dead.
Tanner, I feel like I've been doing a lot of talking, but I kind of want to get into a Palpatine rant.
That's fine. We can do the Palpatine rant. Do you want to do it now, or do you want to do it as part of your review?
I'll do it now. I mean, I think Palpatine coming back is the worst mistake they ever made in this movie.
Yeah, let's dive into that, because I feel the same.
And in fact, it's not just worse for this movie, it's worse for the entire Skywalker Saga that he comes back.
Why?
Because think of it. So you have the prophecy brought up in Phantom Menace, right? That Anakin would be the one to bring balance back to the Force, right?
Correct.
And defeat the Sith evil that is Palpatine. And then and prophecy narratives are kind of hard to pull off, because I feel like it's just like, this is going to happen, and then it happens. There's not really a lot of like, surprise there.
Yeah.
But I think Star Wars prophecy works really well, because in the grand scheme of things, it does happen, but not the way you think, because, Anakin goes to the dark side. He genocides a lot of people. He kills a lot. And he's like the worst thing to the galaxy since Palpatine. But then through the power of, family and whatever, and the goodness in him, he overcomes that eventually and kills the Emperor. So it still happens, but not the way you expect,
Yeah.
And that's interesting to look at the whole like 6-movie arc for Anakin / Vader, and to see that he does fulfill the prophecy. It's not Luke; it is him all along, but only after it turns into a tyrannical menace.
I mean, I appreciate the fact that it still happens,
but not anymore, because they say Palpatine just brought himself back. So now that means nothing.
Yeah. Which I hate this movie, because it doesn't respect the material that came before it at all.
No, it doesn't. And you know what I think it's also indicative of is the hubris of Disney coming in and saying, we're going to complete the Skywalker Saga. And I would argue is already complete with 1 through 6. I would argue, and I'm not saying they shouldn't have made more movies, but I think that the fact that they were looking at it in terms of, oh, we have to finish what George Lucas started was wrong. I think George Lucas, even though he had originally had ideas for 9 episodes, I think the 6 that he did were complete.
Yeah. And I had it stopped there, I would have been perfectly happy with it too. And like we said earlier, I would have rather them explore something else in this world.
Mhm.
Or even just a different Jedi or whatever. Because it's not like people are incapable of coming up with interesting Jedi stories. I mean, they do it with video games all the time. I think the storyline for like Jedi Fallen Order is much like that would have been a sick movie series.
Still haven't played that, but it's on my list.
Oh, so good.
I've heard.
And the story's great. And it ties into like the regular legacy of Star Wars that we know and love. So there's like enough there, but it's just like a totally new, like it's very possible. And I think this was just cash grab, lazy writing. And then, like you said, they overcorrected and they got such backlash with Last Jedi that they were like, oh, we gotta go back to what people know. We gotta go back to what they love. We gotta bring back, Palpatine. We gotta bring back a redeemed villain. And it's like, but we don't want this either. And part of that's on us as fans, because, that's what happens when you are so toxic that you hate everything. They're like, well, what do you want then? Because we'll give you this. And then we're like, well, we don't want that.
Well, but a part of that's also on the creatives for listening to us too much and putting too much stock in the very loud people online who are a minority.
But I also think it comes from you announce this, like you acquire this property, and then you say, we're going to complete this Skywalker saga, and you have no direction for it. Because it's very clear to me that when this project of 3 movies was announced, nobody had any idea what the story was.
Yeah, and if they did, they didn't stick with it.
No, so it's like, just give yourselves time to put out something good, but you're not going to. You're just going to do it for money.
I mean, I'm not opposed to them bringing back these characters to have more adventures, because to suggest that they wouldn't have more adventures after Return of the Jedi in such a wide galaxy is ludicrous,
Yeah.
Like, of course they would have more adventures, but I don't want their adventures to be so couched in the old ones, because, I mean, sure, like, these people changed the whole galaxy, so sure, they're going to have like a legacy. And that's what I'd be more interested in, is like, how does their legacy affect the galaxy going forward? So I kind of wish these weren't episodes 7, 8, and 9. They were just, more Star Wars, and how does the galaxy go forward after them? Not so much like, oh, this is the continuation of everything that's been going on since forever, but like, what are the ripple effects of what happened before?
Yeah.
So I feel like, and when they were bringing back Palpatine, and I read this article that when J.J. Abrams and whoever else were sitting down and trying to figure out the story for this one, and they said, oh, well, it all comes back to Palpatine. Palpatine's always been the ultimate evil, So to have a saga ending movie that doesn't include him would be, missing that. While, yes, he has been the ultimate evil of the first 6 movies, pulling the strings, I don't necessarily think that has to mean he has to be the ultimate evil of the next 3, or the 3 after that, or however long you go,
Yeah.
So I fundamentally disagree with, for a lot of reasons, their decision to bring it back in this movie.
Yeah, I wish it hadn't happened. I think it's a big, big mistake, and I think it really kind of ruined it. You done fucked up, Disney.
But one other, thing that was unavoidable that they couldn't foresee in terms of creating this movie and narrative and character arcs was passing of Carrie Fisher. So this is the first movie that she was not involved in during filming, having passed away in 2016. This movie being filmed in 2018. And this, originally they were going to have Leia, this could be like Leia's movie. Like, the first movie is Han's movie, Last Jedi is Luke's movie, and this is going to be Leia's movie. But of course, tragedy struck, and they couldn't do that. So they used unused footage from The Force Awakens of her. So everything in this movie that you see of her is from Force Awakens.
Really?
Which, yeah, and I didn't really notice the cracks in that terms. I don't know if they added like Rey dialogue to match Leia's dialogue to make it make sense, in the context of the story.
Yeah.
But I think it works fine, like good enough considering.
Yeah, I would say that too.
I mean, I wish we got more of Leia, but what are you going to do? Digitally recreate her?
Well, yeah. They already did that for Rogue One, and
For one shot, though. Not gonna do it for a full movie.
well, no.
And of course, also coming back as Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker as a Force ghost, which, you know, having, the limitations of not having Leia, I am glad that he came back and, you know, put a pin in it.
What do you mean?
Like, I'm glad that we have, like, Mark Hamill's presence in this movie. And skipping ahead, Harrison Ford coming back. That's actually probably my favorite scene in the movie. That's the high point. Not that that's saying a lot, but when Han Solo shows up to Ben, like, that was a huge surprise to me in the theater, and it was a really touching moment.
Yeah, I did like that too.
And I think Harrison Ford plays it well.
Yeah.
And it's a continuation of their confrontation in Force Awakens. Going back to that. I know that they say in the movie that it's just his imagination, but I kind of like to believe he's a Force ghost.
What a sweet. I'd like to believe it was something more.
I mean, I know that, like, he wasn't a Jedi and he doesn't have like really strong access to the Force, but that doesn't mean that everyone's connected to the Force in some way, you know. So it's not impossible that Han can come back as a Force ghost.
True.
It's just unlikely. Anyway, that's the only part of the movie that feels bold and not safe is Han showing up.
Yeah, agreed.
Going on the rest of the cast list, we also have Naomi Ackie as Jannah, who you could cut her out of the movie. I don't need her. No
Yeah,
offense to her, but
I would just like to say, like, she didn't do anything wrong, but don't bring in new characters in the last installment of a trilogy. Like, unless they're a plot piece. This character felt very throwaway to me.
yeah.
Like, why do we care?
And they wanted to pretend like she wasn't.
Yeah, like, we have enough rebels. I don't know. And I know we already have the controversy with Rose, but, like, you totally cut out Kelly Marie Tran from this movie and then just replace her with another girl for Finn to do a mission with. And it's like, this character could have been completely removed and it should have been another Rose mission.
Yeah, right? Like, again, them, Disney, just knee-jerk reacting to the most toxic Star Wars fans online. Just dumb. I wish they would have stuck to their guns with that character. You also have Donald Gleason coming back as General Hux, the spy.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm sorry. Do you mean the spy? The spy that makes no sense?
I am the spy.
I am the spy.
And it's not because I want you to win. It's because I want Kylo Ren to lose because he's mean to me.
Yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, oh look, General Hux is like a pseudo good guy, and I'm like, no, he's not. Let's not forget that he blew up 150 million people and destroyed. He already destroyed multiple planets.
Yeah, I'm glad he dies.
Trash.
I don't mind that plot point, but I mean, it's not like game changing either.
I just think it's dumb.
You have Richard E. Grant coming in to play Allegiant General Pride, who is, since Hux is not the, well groomed space Nazi, what's the guy's name from the first one, Grand Moff Tarkin kind of character anymore. You have to replace him with someone even more bureaucratic and evil. So enter Pride.
Yeah, that felt I don't know. It was almost like a giveaway.
How so?
Because General Hux has always been like the military guy for this. And then it's like, in this one, you just have like a new military Nazi guy show up. And then it's like, oh, and General Hux is like, the spy. And I don't know. Like, he was there to create conflict within the First Order. And it's like, to me, kind of evident.
Yeah, and as a mystery goes, they don't really supply you with very many options. It could be. So
yeah,
easy to narrow down. But I will say, I freaking love Richard E. Grant as an actor. I want him in everything.
You know what? I've loved that man since I was like 7 years old, and I watched The Little Vampire with Jonathan Lipnicki.
Oh,
that was the first thing I saw him in.
Because I saw him in theaters.
He's like the dad vampire.
Oh my God, it's been so long since I didn't know him back then, so I can't place him in my memory, but
Yep. But I mean,
crap.
and also let's talk about this. So the vampire hunter guy in that movie is Carson from Downton Abbey, who we know and
No,
love him.
no. Wait, what?
Yeah, you need to give that a rewatch. The
Oh my
vampire
God.
hunter, the dirty, gross vampire hunter guy is Carson.
I only remember Jonathan Lipnicki in this movie. Um, yeah, I'm seeing Alice Creed in this movie. She's a great character actor. Ian DeCasticker from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. apparently is a young kid in this movie.
Yes, the sister is Anna Popplewell, which is Susan from Lion the Witch and the Wardrobe,
Oh
and well, I guess
yeah, I
the
always forget
other.
her name. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Is this movie gonna be good if I watch it again?
Probably not, but it's got like a weirdly stacked cast of like character actors.
True.
I loved that movie as a kid, though. Anyway, Richard E. Grant, yes, great in that. And he pops up in like all my favorite projects. He pops up in Downton Abbey. I don't like his character because he tries to swoop in on Lady Crawley.
Right.
Uh, he pops up in Game of Thrones for like 2 episodes. Love him in that.
Yeah, he was coming off an Oscar nomination this time for his first one for Can You Ever Forgive Me, the Melissa McCarthy movie.
Oh,
So
I
I
didn't
think
watch
that
that.
that kind of boosts his profile. Oh, it's great. Yeah, I recommend it. And he's great. He's great in it. Just while I'm still looking at it, on Wikipedia, the poster for the little vampire is the German poster for some reason. I don't know why, even though the rest of it's in English. And the title says Der Kleine Vampir.
Oh, it's like Der Jungle Boken.
Anyway, yes, more Richard E. Grant. And I mean, as much as I love him, I also think he is a perfect fit for this role, even though they don't really do well enough with him. I think him playing an Imperial guy is perfect. He's perfect
Oh yeah,
casting for that.
very much. He's very like sinister and professional looking.
Yeah. Lupita Nyong'o also coming back as Maz Kanata, but again, like I mentioned, getting nothing to do. We've got Carrie Russell showing up. Only you can see her eyes though, pretty much for a hot
I was gonna
sec
say
as
no,
Zoe
no.
Bliss.
We get Carrie Russell's eyes in this movie, and that's it.
Yeah. And she was cast pretty much through the J.J. Abrams coming back to do this because she had worked on with him on Felicity, the TV show, and she had done Mission Impossible 3 with him as well. So that was kind of like a collab casting. But I love Carrie Russell. She's
I do
great.
too, and I was kind of wondering that because when she started talking in this, I was like, "Who is that voice? I know who this is." And then I looked it up and saw it was her, and I was like, "This is kind of a random pick to have like Carrie Russell be this character," but that makes sense.
Well, you wouldn't make it like Kate Winslet and then just not show her face.
Yeah, I mean, like that. You could have really used a nobody actress for that role. Um, so it was weird that it was kind of like a decent big name. Like I would call Carrie Russell like a big name.
I would, yeah, now more so because she's on The Diplomat and winning Emmys and shit.
Well,
But
yeah, I mean, she was big in like The Americans, so she got
that's
she got
true.
that. She was in Planet of the Apes. She was in she's done some like big stuff.
I just always felt like she was underrated.
Me too.
At least in terms of movies. Like I would like to see her in more movies. I guess she's not underrated on the TV side of things, but as far as movies are concerned, I feel like she hasn't gotten her fair shake.
What was that movie we watched a couple years ago with her? The horror Antlers.
Yes, Antler, that was
Oh
good.
yeah, I rewatched that recently, and it's so like eerie. Ugh, it's really creepy.
I've been thinking about rewatching that one. That's a good like vibe movie. Like really
It is.
dour, but I dig it.
And again, I love Carrie Russell in it.
Yeah. We already mentioned Kelly Marie Tran coming back as Rose Tico. We also have the return of Billy D. Williams as Lando Calrissian. And I mean, in terms of like, boxes to check, I mean, at least they did finally put Lando back in this.
Yeah,
I don't like how he was used, but you kind of need Lando to show up somewhere in these sequel trilogies, right?
yeah.
And you also got Billy Lord coming back as Lieutenant Connix. You've got J.J. Abrams' best friend, Greg Grunberg, coming back as Snap Wexley, although he dies in this movie. Rest in peace. And you've also got Mary himself, Dominic Monaghan, as Beaumont Kin.
Oh,
Did you not notice
yeah,
him?
yeah. I literally was like, and I kept expecting him to like do more or to have like a primary scene, and he didn't. He was just kind of like a background character.
Well, and his role didn't actually exist because I have this really cool trivia. When J.J. Abrams was announced as director for this one and was, putting the cast together, Dominic Monaghan, I think he was just like, I don't know, they were like hanging out or they were in the same circle or whatever, and they bet on a World Cup match. So that would have been, I guess, World Cup 2018. Monahan won the bet in terms of who won and who lost the game. And then as a result, he got written into the movie. And then we also have Babu Frick, who is, I think, I mean, that's a fun alien. I like Babu Frick, the little tiny mechanic.
Yeah, I love that cute little bastard.
Do you know who he's voiced by?
No.
He's voiced by Moaning Myrtle herself, Shirley Henderson.
Oh my God, the 38-year-old, 12-year-old.
Yep.
That was shocking to me. Speaking of which people, Moaning Myrtle was supposed to be a 12-year-old student, and that actress was 34 when she filmed Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah, well, I was like less than 12 when that came out, and I didn't notice that she was an grown woman.
Well, and that wasn't like a dig. I'm like, and good for her because I 100% believe it.
And then, of course, J.J. Abrams' director cameo as Dio, a droid. And then the rest of cameos, I missed this one when I was watching the movie, and I should have because I know this actor, but Jodie Comer plays Rey's mother in this movie.
Yeah, she was in a flashback.
Did you catch her?
Yeah.
I don't know why. For whatever reason, I just didn't log that on the watch.
Oh, because then I thought she would kind of come back in like another bigger scene, and she never did. But then I was like, that's kind of weird that Jodie Comer was in this like flashback where she yelled like no, you know.
And that was, let's see, Killing Eve was the show that she got big on. When was that running? Killing Eve started in 2018, so it was kind of around the same time, I guess, that she was filming this. But
well, and she had done The White Princess, and that was like she got notoriety for that.
The White Princess?
Yeah, bro. Follow up to Rebecca Ferguson's The White Queen.
This is a miniseries?
Yeah, Tudor England.
Also cameoing here is the writer Chris Terrio as Aftab Akbar, relative to Admiral Akbar, of course.
It's a trap.
It is. Dennis Lawson from the original trilogy coming back to play Wedge Antilles, even though I didn't notice him.
Wedge Antilles?
Wedge Antilles.
Here I am playing Wedge Sandal.
Here I am playing Wedge Salad.
I'm a Corky Wedges.
And Tanner, I actually probably should have mentioned this when we were discussing Phantom Menace, but guess whose nephew Dennis Lawson is?
Who?
Ewan McGregor.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Little Star Wars connection there. So Ewan McGregor was already kind of like, when he got hired for that movie, he was already like kind of like a legacy, I guess, in terms of the family.
Nepotism.
Makes the world go round.
It's,
Warwick Davis.
If you're gonna have a tism, you want nepotism,
as opposed to like rheumatism
or like autism.
Oh, okay. Well, let's not. That you're getting to some touchy subject matter there. Also cameoing this one is your obligatory Warwick Davis. This time coming back as Wicket, the Ewok.
Yes.
John Williams as a Kijimi bartender named Oma Tress, which I caught that one actually. I was proud of myself. Kevin Smith is also a Kijimi resident, big Star Wars nerd. Rogue One composer Michael Giacchino plays a Sith trooper, also collaborator J.J. Abrams on plenty other movies. Lin-Manuel Miranda, your favorite, as a human resistance trooper.
Whatever. Better than a Victorian chimney sweep in London. Please.
Mary Poppins. Jeff Garlin as an alien resistance trooper before he got canceled, I guess. And as stormtroopers, because, it wouldn't be a Star Wars movie about that a celebrity playing a stormtrooper. We have Carl Urban. And I guess right after he did the Game of Thrones, Ed Sheeran cameoing.
Oh yeah.
How do you? I don't mind his Game of Thrones cameo, to get off topic a little bit.
I don't either. And people hated that. Like people were really, really horrible about that. And I don't know. Maybe it's because he sang, and it was like, okay, don't put a singer in a cameo and then have them sing.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have a problem with that at all. And I literally was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
That was like what, season 4 or 5?
No, it was like 7.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it was 7.
And I may be embarrassed to say, but I did not recognize him when, I didn't know who he looked like back then.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I don't really follow his music. I didn't really. That's kind of how I learned who Ed Sheeran was, actually. with that cameo.
God.
When everyone was like, "Oh, Ed Sheeran showing up," and I'm like, "Who's Ed Sheeran?" I mean, I know that name, but which one was he?
Yep. Season 7.
And then, of course, also cameoing in this movie at the very end, we have a bunch of vocal cameos from Jedi past talking to Rey. You got Hayden Christensen's Darth Vader, or Anakin Skywalker, I should say. James Earl Jones' Darth Vader. Andy Serkis' Snoke is in there somewhere. Ewan McGregor and Alec Guinness for Obi-Wan Kenobi. Them just, reusing the Alec Guinness audio clip they reused for Force Awakens, where he goes, Rey. Anyway, Ashley Eckstein is voicing Ahsoka Tano as well in that sequence. Freddie Prinze Jr. has a vocal cameo as well as Kanan Jarrus from Star Wars Rebels show. Frank Oz as Yoda, of course. Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn. And Samuel L. Jackson as Mace Windu. Tanner, I just realized we didn't really cover any, in terms of the new characters, I couldn't find any, alternate casting options for any of the newcomers.
That's because nobody wanted to touch this with a 10-foot pole.
Well, who did want to touch it with a pole of some size was Matthew Smith of Doctor Who. Also known as Matt Smith.
I was going to say, Matt Smith?
Yeah, I don't know why I gave him his birth name, but...
Who did he want to be?
Oh, I don't know. It just said that he was considered.
Well, and you know what? Matt Smith, great actor. He's done great projects. He's on current great projects. But then he also did... he does sometimes some, what was the Jared Leto movie he did? The Bat one.
Morbius.
Ugh, yeah, that horrible role. But even Matt Smith was like, I didn't even know what that role was. I just checked the check and showed up, and I feel like he just didn't even care.
We talked last week about how also Game of Thrones, Emilia Clarke has had trouble joining big franchises. I mean, he's done Terminator. He did Morbius, the Sonyverse. He has not had good luck either with nabbing a movie franchise.
That's true, but he's still on his Game of Thrones era, so he's safe for now.
Although, Tanner, he is coming to a galaxy far, far away next year with Star Wars Starfighter.
Really?
Yeah, he got cast in that one. So I saw a quote from the director of that movie, Sean Levy, who said it was like fate because it was meant to be that Matt Smith was in a Star Wars.
Okay. Good for him.
All right, transitioning into filming. So principal photography of this movie runs from August of 2018 to February of 2019, so 6-month shoot. Working title for this movie was Trixie. Can you guess why?
No.
If I tell you that the I and the X in Trixie are capitalized, will that help?
Oh, got it.
Yep, episode 9. Dumb. Original working title was Black Diamond. I don't know what that means, but sure.
Yeah, that seems weird.
And this time they film again almost entirely at Pinewood Studios in Buckinghamshire, England, where the one filming detail that I found was interesting was that when they had the final sequence of Ben Solo's death, they filmed a version of it without their kiss and with their kiss, just in case they wanted to, they weren't sure which one they wanted to go with. Do you think they made the right call?
No comment.
No comment in terms of the kissing.
I just don't think that the ending's the right call at all. I don't like any part of it.
But if the ending was the same, would you prefer they kiss or don't kiss? Are you a Reylo shipper, Tanner?
I'm going to say I prefer no kiss.
Okay. What if I told you it was a platonic kiss?
I don't know that I don't know that there is a platonic kiss.
Well, I mean, if someone just revived you with their force healing powers, what would you do?
Hug them, say thank you.
I don't know. I feel like
I
that
owe
would
you one.
Sell it short. I want to plant a fat one on them.
Okay, Tim. Well, when you get nabbed with your sexual assault charge, you let me know.
Yeah, someone's going to use their force power to revive me, and I'm going to kiss them, and that's going to make them say, oh, you know what? I made a mistake. I'm going to charge you with sexual assault.
No, but you could just say, thank you so much for saving my life. Here's a handshake. Here's a hug. Here's $100. I don't know.
I think they play that, but the actors play that moment well.
All right.
So, as always, I'm right and you're wrong. And they also film the only location shooting they do is at Wadi Rum Desert in Jordan. Or sorry, Wadi Rum Jordan, the Passana Desert, I think. Actually, know what? I don't know. I think that's right. No. The Wadi Rum in Jordan. Passana is the desert planet in the movie. There, got it. Boom.
Oh, okay.
And can I just say, my least favorite part of the movie,
What?
the desert part,
I don't even remember a desert part.
where they go to like Star Wars Burning Man and they meet Lando,
Oh yeah, terrible.
and then they have that like speeder chase, and they're like, they fly now, they fly now.
Oh, that's when I snapped you, and I was like, I'm immediately annoyed with this movie.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
first act is the worst.
Yeah, terrible. They fly now.
They fly now. Oh God, cut that line. While we're talking about that sequence, Tanner, in terms of things I hate and they wish they cut, Finn's goddamn like, oh, one more thing, Ray, I never told you. Oh, and then they keep bringing it up, but they never pay it off. Like, the fuck was that?
What was the thing you never told her?
You know, there have been theories that said online that like, oh, he was gonna tell her he was force sensitive, you know, and he kept that a secret. But I don't care. That doesn't change this movie.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be like a like a I
I
love
love
you.
you. Yeah,
Ooh.
dumb.
Yeah.
But they never go back to it, which is dumb. Like they never really address it. Like whatever it was, it never comes back.
No, you know why, Tim? Because they're too busy taking your platonic kiss idea and having Finn run around and kiss every girl he's partnered with.
Hey, Rose kissed him.
Still, was that a platonic kiss that paid off? No. The answer is no.
And they had reshoots, of course, as always. And everybody's favorite line was in the reshoots. Can you guess what that is?
No.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Yeah, we already talked about that line.
Well, yeah, but I'm just mentioning that was a reshot line. Like that was like added like way late.
Somehow Palpatine returned. So they
Which
added
is
that later?
Yeah, way later.
And it doesn't even, like, usually reshoots are to correct a problem, not to create a problem. My God.
Well, they thought they were correcting a problem in terms of like addressing how he returns, or at least addressing the fact that it's weird. But yeah, how underwhelming. That's all we get.
Some sort of ancient Sith magic. It's like, okay.
Post-production, this movie is, of course, again scored by John Williams. So thankfully, the giant evil gods from Cabin in the Woods can rest easily underneath the earth and save us from the giant hand crushing us all again.
Yes. Thank you to
One
John
last time.
Williams for giving us no iconic pieces once more in this movie.
All right, Tanner, review time.
This movie, Tim, not good.
Yeah.
I think it's sloppy. I think it's hasty. I don't particularly like it. I will say for the plus, I think it was easier to watch than Last Jedi. Like I think the pacing is better in it.
Yes.
So I think this one feels easier to watch. I do like that everybody's together in it more. I don't like that they cut out like Rose. I don't like that they brought in a new character. I hate the Palpatine stuff. I don't understand how he had the means to not only revive himself, but to build 100,000 Star Destroyers with mini Death Star capabilities on them with nobody in the galaxy knowing. Where'd they get the materials? I don't know. Who are all of the hooded cultists that like helped revive him? It doesn't ever show any of them. They don't do anything. The whole end sequence, they're standing there like chanting like it's a gladiator arena, and nobody does anything to help their emperor. So I'm like, what's this planet full of these people?
Insert
Who are
Patrick
they?
Star saying, "Who are you people?"
Well, yeah, but like, are they people from all over the galaxy that are like supporters of the Empire, or are they all like people native to that planet? I don't know. Again, it doesn't give us the answer.
It's the space Illuminati, Tanner.
It's just stupid. I don't like that the Snoke thing gets answered kind of because they're like, oh, well, Palpatine created Snoke. Well, how? Because it shows a bunch of like Snoke heads in a lab. Like, so he clearly like created him
Heads.
and like grew him. But I'm like, you can bring yourself back from the dead and you can create all of this, but you can't create a Snoke that doesn't have like a half rotted face. Like, what's going on here? How'd you teach him how to use the Force? I don't like it. It's a hasty, sloppy, no direction movie that they tried to piece together. And I think it really, really shows. And I absolutely hate that it's called The Rise of Skywalker when Rey is not a Skywalker. And I know I know that's the point. Like, she chose her own destiny. She chose to be a Skywalker. She chose to be good. But it's like, but you're not. And like you said, it totally is disrespectful to the previous source material about like a Skywalker prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why? Why did we do all of this? Anyway, that's my soapbox. I don't like it.
Well, that's a lot of things that you mentioned, and you're not going to get any argument from me. There was a few points where I kind of wanted to jump in, but I guess I'll jump in back with the last scene with Rey Skywalker.
Okay.
Poorly written. That scene is poorly written. Not that there's much to it. I mean, there's like 4 or 5 lines of dialogue, but still, like who the fuck is that lady? Why the fuck does she care who this lady's last name is? It's really forced.
Well, yeah, and part of me would be if she's like, "Who are you?" and she's like, "Ray," and she's like, "Ray who?" I'd be like, "Fuck off! Who are you? What are you doing, trespasser?"
I mean, I guess like she supposedly knew the Skywalkers back when. Well, actually, no, they weren't even the Skywalkers. They were the Larses.
Correct. You know what? The timelines of things from the original trilogy don't matter anyway, Tim, because how did Rey get an ancient Sith dagger that perfectly matches up with the wreckage of the Death Star that's only 40 years old?
Because they saw it in the future.
Yeah, stupid.
I don't know.
It makes no sense.
But what a cool visual. What else did you talk about? Yeah, Palpatine's digs are dumb. Like, I'm not going to defend the chorus of hooded people he has just hanging out. Can we talk about the reversal of Rey's parentage? I think that's an important thing to talk about.
Sure.
So in the last movie, of course, Last Jedi, it's revealed in quotes, at least they thought it was at the time. Kylo said that her parents were nobodies, that they sold her for parts, that she doesn't come from a long line of Jedi or whatever, or anybody who's used the Force for that matter. And then this one, we learn that she is a Palpatine because for some reason, people convinced Disney that everybody has to be related to everybody, which is not true.
No, and who is Palpatine siring a child with?
You know, I was led to believe that, I was led to infer, I guess I should say, that Rey's father was just a clone of Palpatine, but a younger version. So I would say nobody, but I don't know that's for sure. I'll look it up. Okay, yeah, so he's a clone. He's a clone. But a clone who broke away and didn't follow in his clone daddy's footsteps.
So were we led to believe anywhere in that movie that there was clones of Emperor Palpatine running around? Because I didn't.
Well, yeah,
know that.
exactly. They don't really explain that. Like, it's not explicit.
No, because again, it's dumb. Like, you're gonna make that the plot twist and then not even tell us how it happens.
I mean, I like the idea that Rey's parents were like left her to protect her. It kind of mirrors Luke's whole deal growing up, but
Sure.
not at the expense of what had been established in the last movie. I think it would be much more interesting to watch Rey grapple with who she is as a nobody, having come to terms with that, in this one, and have to find her who she is, and her place in all of this. But her being a Palpatine doesn't really change anything. Like what does it change? Nothing. That she's down the line from Palpatine genetically. That's it.
Or that she's supposed to be more predisposed to like turning to the dark side because she was born of evil, and it's like, well,
then, bro, like Palpatine's clone son was literally him entirely, 100% genetic DNA match, and he turned away from the dark side. So why the fuck should I have to worry about Rey?
you shouldn't, because it's a stupid storyline.
Yeah, I mean, I do see like the parallel with Ben/Kylo, like how you have the heroes from the original trilogy begetting someone who turns to the dark side, so your big bad, and then you have the big bad from the original trilogy begetting the protagonist. So you have that kind of crossover. So I see that conceptually. I don't think it works. I don't think they really, accentuate that in the movie. But despite that, the fact that I don't like that reveal, I think the only really good section of the movie is and I say good as in better, but like the second act, basically. So the sequence that takes place on the crashed Death Star, I think is the best.
Do you?
Yeah. Like
the water fight and stuff.
The water fight, yeah, is the best sequence in the movie.
Yeah. I did. I actually like that scene.
I don't care for the Jana, what was her name? Like the people they find there. Like I don't think they really are important. But that sequence of the movie is probably the strongest. I think the first act suffers from kind of feeling very aimless, and the third act suffers from it feeling too formulaic.
I would agree.
Whereas the second act, I feel like it kind of feels like it's independent of anything else, and that's the only thing I feel like they're doing anything interesting during, especially when Han Solo shows up. And maybe it's also because I think the only really interesting character in these movies is Kylo Ren, Ben Solo. Like his arc is the only one that I mean, Rey is kind of interesting, I guess, but I think standout new characters, it's just Ben. It's just Kylo. So I like his turn eventually actually heals him, and then he sees his dad, and that's what saves him, I guess.
True.
His soul. And when we're talking about it, and that does kind of pay off later on when he does the same to her and saves her life. How do you? We talked about the kiss, but besides the kiss, how do you feel about that scene in terms of him saving her life and then dying?
I mean, it's fine if you want to give him a redemption arc. I think it's fine, and I think it makes sense for him to not like support Palpatine too. I don't know. I just wish that's not what it was.
What was?
Like that's where he goes. That he just like gets bested and fate gets thrown down the elevator shaft, or the chasm, and then just pops back up and is like, "Oh, boop, killed you. Sorry, bye." The dead. Like I've seen it before.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, I was for some reason imagining Palpatine going down the shaft in Jedi, but
Oh no,
yes,
no,
yeah.
I meant when Ben falls.
No, I clocked that too with this watch because it's very much like, oh, we need you out of the way for this confrontation, this final confrontation between Rey and Palpatine. So
Yep.
you're gonna fall down a thing and then have to climb back out. It felt very contrived. So yeah, I agree with that. But can I tell you one moment that I really do like in this movie in the third act?
Yeah.
When Rey passes the lightsaber to him through the Force, and then he starts fighting the Knights of Ren. That part I was like, oh fuck yeah, that was cool.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know that I love like the passing the lightsaber through the Force thing. Can you just come up with the problem of like inventing more and more Force powers?
Well, they teased it. I mean, they were able to like that's how they were able to communicate. They're a Force dyad. Not that like the movie really explains what that means in terms of like, you know, what the ramifications of that are,
Yeah.
but in the sense that they're kind of like what's that like theory in real physics where if you split a particle and then you do something to it on this side of the universe, it'll happen to it the other half of it on the other side of the universe too, you know?
Yeah.
Like whatever that's called, like the parallel between that and the Force, this Force dyad. Like it was a good payoff for me at least. I liked that moment that when she, you know, goes from looking like she's going to strike Palpatine, and then you have Ben defenseless to her being like, "No, I'm not going to strike you down," and now Ben has a weapon. You know, I like that. It works better for me in terms of like I know a lot of people don't like how they just invent a lot of new Force powers in these movies, but that works better for me than the Force healing.
Yeah.
And it's only for one moment, so whatever. I guess the reason I like it is because it sold to me the idea that Rey and Kylo or Rey and Ben are now finally a team. You know, they're now finally on the same side and they're working together entirely.
Yeah, when it's the 11th hour and like all hope is lost and he has to, I don't know. I would have liked it better if they had just been on the same side since Last Jedi and we had gone with either this Duel of the Fates idea or even the idea that you pitched would have been better. Like,
Well, of course, I'm always right, and my ideas are better than everyone else's.
okay.
What else should we talk about? Oh, okay. So while we're talking about the third act, what I don't like with the third act is everything happening outside of the throne room, like with Finn and Janna, and well, no, not Poe. Poe's on the ship, but like they're riding those horses on like the back of the Star Destroyer,
Yeah.
whatever. That sequence doesn't work for me at all.
No. Me either.
And I don't know. I mean, I guess the only thing I can really think of as to why that is like spatially, I don't really understand like where they are in the grand scheme of things. Like I don't understand the scale of that fight and relative to the rest of the fight. You know?
Well, I think the Star Destroyers are like huge,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm assuming that they could like ride on them for like, a mile, but I don't know.
I just don't really feel that though. You know?
No.
I don't get that impression. Okay, well, I'll finish this up by saying I agree with everything you said. I still think this movie is good enough, but it does make a lot of the big picture Star Wars stuff really, really messy. And so, in a vacuum, I think this movie is fine. In context, I think it's terrible. So I'm very torn on this movie.
Yeah, I mean, and even I would say I would maybe agree with that. Like, I don't think it wasn't like thoroughly unenjoyable to watch, but when you look at the context overall, it makes me dislike it because I think it doesn't make sense and there's
Mhm.
no continuity with it.
Yeah.
So if it was just kind of like its own standalone thing, I think I would like it more. But yeah, I can't say that it's like high up there for me.
No. And I agree with pretty much everybody else when they say that this movie is underwhelming. And yeah, this movie is underwhelming. Like even the fact that I am a little bit higher on it than most people, it's still underwhelming to me. You know, like it's marketed as like the finale of the Skywalker Saga, and it does not live up to that designation at all.
No.
So yeah, very unfortunate. Okay, well, let's move on. Let's move on to post-release stuff. Um, I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but I did notice that the found out that the novelization of this movie does clarify how Palpatine survives Return of the Jedi and who Rey's father is. So it's extra material knowledge.
I just don't think that you can make that big of a twist in a mainstream movie and make the explanation extra material because the majority of people watching are not extra material viewers.
Yeah, agreed. All right, Tanner, your favorite part, box office. Here we go. Opening day, this movie makes $89.6 million, which today will be $112.2. This movie was released alongside another hugely disappointing and head-scratching movie by the name of Cats.
Oh,
I take it
but
you've seen
look
that.
again, like directors with successes and flops.
Yeah, Tom Hooper, Les Mis, King's Speech, and Cats. Did you see that in theaters?
I did. I had to drag. I had to drag my aunt and my cousin because I didn't want to go by myself. And they were like, "We don't want to see it. It doesn't look good." And they're not like they'll watch musicals, but they have to be musicals that they're like interested in. They won't just like
Mhm.
watch any musical. And I'm like, "No, you guys, please go with me. Come on." And to be fair, half of my appeal was I went for Taylor Swift, who I'm sorry was just an awful character,
Well, yeah, new character too.
Bombalurina.
Well,
Um,
are any of the characters good though?
No, and I'm sorry, like this is another Tanner tangent. Cats as a whole makes no sense. The stage production makes no sense. I don't know how it was the longest running play on Broadway for so many years because I think there's good songs in it. You know, like Memories is a great song. The
Mhm.
show is terrible.
It is. I've seen it. It's terrible.
It's like this weird concept of we're going to have this competition between these like street gangs of cats, and whoever sings the best is going to die and go to the heavy side layer, which is like cat heaven. So I'm like, what? It just does. The show is bizarre. Anyway, back to the film. Terrible, frightening. The CGI cat people was so scary. And then my aunt and my cousin, I literally was like, I'll pay for you to go with. So I spent like $40 just to watch the stupid movie, and they fell asleep in 8 minutes.
I don't blame them.
And we were the only people in that theater, and it was the only movie I wanted to walk out of.
Oh, that movie is so horrifying. I don't know if I can take my eyes away from it. It's like,
Yeah,
oh god.
it was not a good experience. I'm so sorry to everybody involved. Lots of talent in that movie, not good.
Well, Tanner, maybe you can improve both these movies by Barbenheimering them. So I have the title for this movie as The Rise of Catwalker.
Ooh, that sounds like a Stephen King movie.
Okay, we'll pitch it. What's The Rise of Catwalker about?
Well, Tim, The Rise of Catwalker is just going to be eerily similar to the early 90s horror cult classic Sleepwalkers, which is about
Mm,
cat people. Did I make you watch that movie?
you did. Yes, it's terrible.
That's my pitch. It's a remake of Sleepwalkers.
Oh, I thought you were gonna be like, it's about a dog walker who gets fired and can only find catwalking jobs, and
Oh, you know
it's the
what? It's the
rise.
sequel. It's the sequel to the fake movie that Daniel Radcliffe and Marissa Tomei were in called The Dog Walker that was in Trainwreck.
Yes,
That's
the
where that
rise.
came from, right?
Yeah, I think so. That
I think
I
so.
know, I know. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's
It's when
Trainwreck.
they go on their date, and it's the fake Daniel Radcliffe, Marissa Tomei movie, Dog Walker. It's the sequel Marissa Tomei has dumped Daniel Radcliffe. He's now a catwalker, but he only has one client, and she's a struggling author in the Bronx, and she has to completely lock herself in the attic to focus on her writing. So Daniel Radcliffe has to take her cat out every day so that she can write. And then the cat gets loose and it runs through New York, and she has to go with Daniel Radcliffe to find the cat, but she's also an agoraphobic, so she can't leave her house, and it's really hard for her. And then they run into Marissa Tomei, and she's on Broadway for a screenplay that the other girl has written. I'm starting to lose it.
That was pretty good. From the makers of Rogue Beauty.
The Catwalker.
Who plays the cat lady?
Ooh. Who would be a good... It's gonna be like an Emma Stone vibe.
Oh, okay.
But you know who's really gonna petition for it is Jennifer Lopez, because it's in the Bronx, and she's gonna say that's my hood, and I deserve this. So J-Lo's gonna fight for it. It's not a good fit though.
Your elevator pitch is this movie's gonna end up being bad.
Yeah. And then she went on to do The Kiss of the Spider Woman.
Oh my god! Speaking of movies that got buried,
because she thought it was a Spider-Man sequel.
Is that true?
No, not at all.
That movie that came and went, and I didn't hear anything about it.
Nobody did. It was a Jennifer Lopez movie.
Yeah. Well, should have done the Catwalker. All right, so back to box office. Opening weekend, this makes $177.4 million, 229.1 today. What, Tanner?
I have a better pitch.
Oh God, shit. Okay, go.
For the Catwalker. It's an aspiring model who works as a catwalker, but they want to be on the catwalk as a model.
Oh, that makes sense.
Oh my god! And then you can throw in like a romantic storyline, and then at the end she gets her dream, and she becomes a model on the catwalk.
Okay,
that seems like a safer choice.
I think I would prefer the Daniel Radcliffe movie, but sure.
All right.
Yeah,
okay. Well, I mean, Daniel Radcliffe could still be there. You know what? See, so this pitch, the safer choice, it's the Disney-fied version.
Oh, okay.
They
And
didn't
the
take
one is and then the Daniel Radcliffe is the A24 version.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. All right, back to box office. So in the top 10 this week in January 2019, you could also go see Jumanji: The Next Level, Frozen 2, Cats, as I mentioned, Knives Out, Bombshell, that's like the Fox News movie with Charlize Theron.
Yes.
Richard Jewell, Clint Eastwood movie about the titular guy. Queen and Slim, kind of like a modern day Bonnie and Clyde kind of movie. Ford v Ferrari, every dad's favorite movie ever. And the second remake of Black Christmas.
Oh.
How do you feel about the slate of movies back in December 2019, Tanner?
I think there's a lot of stiff competition there.
Yeah, which would you go see first? Cats?
I think the first one I probably saw was Frozen 2.
Of course.
Or Knives Out, but like everybody in the world probably went to Frozen 2 first.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, Frozen 2, this was week 5 at this point, but and Knives Out week 4. All right, so Rise of Skywalker, though, is number 1 for 3 weekends. And then in weekend number 4, it falls to number 2 behind the opening wide weekend, I should say, limited release beforehand, of 1917, the World War I Sam Mendes movie.
I love that movie.
I love that movie, too. I saw that in theaters twice, in fact.
Me too.
Really?
Yes.
I saw it once by myself, and then I went to go see my dad for Christmas that year, or January, or whatever it was. And I was like, Dad, movie. He's like, I haven't seen one of those in 15 years. So I took him to that. Classic. But in that weekend that Rise of Skywalker lost the number 1 spot, it still beat the openings of Like a Boss, the Rose Byrne, Tiffany Haddish movie?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep.
Terrible. And Underwater, the Kristen Stewart Squid People movie. That one's not bad.
I actually like that movie.
Yeah. Domestically, this movie makes $515.2 million, which today would be $665.4. So another step down from the last one. It's interesting how I think the original trilogy also goes down with each entry money-wise, and so does this trilogy. But the prequel trilogy, the lowest one is the second one.
Word of mouth, baby.
Yeah.
People were hyped about that Phantom Menace, and then they were, even if they were disappointed, clones, boom. But then you can't stop the word of mouth for Revenge of the Sith because it's top tier.
Yeah. Agreed. And people were also just kind of more interested in seeing how that one ended than this one.
Probably because it was a cohesive storyline with characters they were invested in.
Funny how that works. Rise of Skywalker was the number 3 movie domestically in 2019. Number 1 was Avengers Endgame at $858.4 million. So about $250 million off of that one. So pretty sizable lead. A little closer is the number 2 movie, The Lion King, with $543.6 million, about $30 million off. This was a huge year for Disney because number 4 is Frozen 2, which trails Rise of Skywalker by about $40 million. And then number 5 was also Disney, Toy Story 4. Number 6, also Disney, Captain Marvel. Number 7, kind of Disney, Spider-Man Far From Home. And number 8, Disney, Aladdin.
Wow.
So Disney was involved in some regard, the top 8 movies domestically that year. I think they had $7 billion grosses that year, which now we'll probably never see again until inflation really kicks up again. But
yeah,
worldwide, Rise of Skywalker makes $1.074 billion, so just over $1 billion, which is definitely not a great mark for a Star Wars movie. 1.4 today. Worldwide, this movie is only number 7, though. So it goes from number 3 domestically to number 7 worldwide. As we mentioned, Star Wars not a huge draw in other countries than ours. Number 1 worldwide was also Avengers Endgame at $2.8 billion. So this movie's almost $2 billion shy of that one.
dang.
Although it's very close with the numbers 6 and 8 movies around it. Number 6. And if you told me in 2019 going into it that The Rise of Skywalker would make less money than Joker, I would not have believed you. Joker makes, $4 million more than this. Not a lot, but still, Jesus Christ. And Star Wars?
I feel like I'm not crazy surprised by that because I feel like I heard Joker hype for months and months and months.
Well, that was fresher, people were more excited about that.
Yeah.
But since that one was rated R, you wouldn't think it would do so well, but it did.
Yeah, that's true.
Also close, though, number 8 spot is Toy Story 4, which makes only $1 million less than Rise of Skywalker worldwide. So a very packed 6, 7, 8 right there. The net budget on this movie was $490.2 million, and it still made a profit. It made about $300 million according to Deadline Hollywood. So I guess that covers the loss for Solo. But I think in the long term, I think this movie hurts the Star Wars brand more than it helps.
I would agree with that.
In terms of reception, people are not excited for more Star Wars anymore. Critical reactions to this movie were very mixed, which is not usual for a Star Wars movie. Positive things I found, consensus-wise, some people like the nostalgia. The visuals, of course, were praised, as always. But again, they criticized the overcorrection in terms of the last couple movies, in terms of the story. They didn't like how predictable it was. They also were dissatisfied with Rose's diminished role. And they thought the trilogy was just shaky in general.
Agreed.
And in terms of scores online for this movie, it has a lot of franchise lows. 51% Rotten Tomatoes score, which is the lowest of the live action. So obviously the Clone Wars is lower, but I feel like that almost doesn't count comparatively. Although I was surprised on Rotten Tomatoes, this has an 86% audience score.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know, because on other so Metacritic user score is a 4.5 out of 10, which that's a franchise low. On IMDb, it's a 6.3 out of 10, which is a franchise low for live action. On Letterboxd, the 2.3 out of 5, which is a franchise low. And CinemaScore has a B+, which is also a live action franchise low. So only on Rotten Tomatoes, for some reason, do people like it for some reason. I don't know. Although, come to think of it, that might have been in regards to the review bombing, trying to counteract it.
Yeah, maybe.
So I don't know. I have to look into that. But the fact that this is the only live action Star Wars movie that did not get an A- or more cinema score, like people coming out of the theater, is telling. This does get, though, 3 Academy Award nominations. I think the last one only got like a couple. It gets Best Original Score for John Williams nomination, although he loses to, and God help me trying to pronounce his name, Hildur Guðnadóttir for Joker.
You tried your best, Tim.
I'm not Icelandic, which I love that score, the Joker score. So I'm fine with that. Best sound editing went to Ford v Ferrari. That was also a nomination for Star Wars. And then the best visual effects Oscar was when it ended up going to 1917, which I'm also fine with. Again, another movie where it's like the Academy's like, oh, an Academy-friendly movie with visual effects, give them the Oscar. Don't give it to this genre trash. Because wasn't that the case with Force Awakens and Ex Machina? Yeah.
Yeah, because they're like, ooh, we need an artsy pick here, not a franchise pick.
Yeah. 1917. All right, well, let's just round out with the legacy of this movie. So they have talked about follow-ups. A Rey-centered movie was announced in 2023 about her rebuilding the Jedi Order, I guess. I don't think that will happen. I feel bad for Daisy Ridley because, I mean, if she did get a movie, that'd be great. But I don't think it's going to happen because people just really dislike that character nowadays. Like, unless something changes or you have like a different hook to the movie besides just her, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
You have to have it be like a Rey movie and then something else that is more appealing to Star Wars fans to make up for it. There was also this is kind of a recent development as of this year in terms of what's been reported in the news, is that they were developing a Ben Solo movie called The Hunt for Ben Solo to be directed by Steven Soderbergh, of all people. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, in fact, it very much almost happened. It was greenlit by Lucasfilm. Like, it got that far that it was given the green light. And it was Disney that said no and put the kibosh to that.
Of course.
And they said they couldn't see how Ben is alive. Which, I mean, I can't either, but I don't know. Maybe they could have figured something out.
I couldn't see how Palpatine was alive, but Disney was okay with that.
I mean, Star Trek did a whole fucking movie about bringing Spock back to life. So,
who knows?
I mean, Steven Soderbergh is also a weird director in terms. It's like the David Fincher. It's a weird fit for Star Wars. But at the same time, I've never seen a bad Steven Soderbergh movie, so I'm inclined to just be curious. Whatever he does, like he's somebody who, if he was attached to a movie, he wouldn't just be a shill, like a corporate shill. He would follow his creative pursuits, you know?
Yeah, he'd make it his own.
I mean, he's made movies on fucking iPhones, for God's sakes. Like, he's, if anybody's interested in like the creative side of filmmaking, it's him. So I wish I would have gone through. But in terms of career this movie affects J.J. Abrams, this is his last movie for a while, although he is coming back this year with a movie called The Great Beyond. Have you heard about this?
No.
Great Beyond, his first new movie. It's a science fantasy, it's described as. Coming out in November, starring Glenn Powell, Jenna Ortega, and Samuel L. Jackson.
Weird.
So maybe this will be his big comeback. Although, I mean, like, his name was kind of like persona non grata among fanboys for a while after this movie.
Yeah.
So so
was Ryan Johnson. Look what happened to him.
Yeah, but is The Great Beyond going to be a Knives Out for J.J. Abrams? I don't know. Maybe, but I doubt it. In terms of other careers that this movie hurts, I mean, I kind of want to lump Daisy Ridley and John Boyega in the same category. Like, them getting these roles kind of makes their career and breaks their career at the same time. Because I feel like they haven't really been able to break out of that perception of them as being Rey and Finn.
Well, and I just haven't really seen either of them in anything.
Well, I did write down a couple of notables. Like, so Daisy Ridley had that Chaos Walking movie with Tom Holland. That was a huge flop. That's probably her biggest thing since then. And then there was The Marsh King's Daughter, which was a flop. So I feel like she's box office poison right now. I like her. I'm sad that she can't really break out. I hope this isn't the end of her career. Like, I hope that she makes a comeback at some point because I think she's really talented. I don't want her to get like Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, until 20 years later when everybody decides that they're okay with him again.
Yeah.
Sad.
And same for John Boyega. Like, he's a good actor, and he did like The Circle with Emma Watson, a terrible movie, awful. And then he did
Yeah.
the Pacific Rim sequel. And that one wasn't good either. So he's struggled too. And then a few years ago, he had a movie called Breaking, which was based on a true story, and he's amazing in that movie, but he didn't really get the attention, probably because of this. So he didn't get like an Oscar nomination for it, even though he probably should have. But it's not all bad things for the new cast of these movies, because I think that the careers of Adam Driver and Oscar Isaac only improve after they do Star Wars.
True.
So I don't know. I mean, and maybe that just comes down to how the characters are portrayed, how they're written, or whatever. But I mean, Adam Driver is now like one of our heaviest actors these days, like one of our best. I don't think that like either him or Oscar Isaac's careers have really been hurt at all by being associated with these movies.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Did you see Frankenstein?
I did.
Del Toro, Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big hit.
I liked that a lot, actually.
Yeah, me too. And he was great in it.
Tim, do you want to go first with your pop culture shout out, or do you want me to go? Or do we have the same one?
I've chosen a different one because I know what you're going to say. So I'll let you just go.
Okay. So my pop culture shout out for this week is The Devil Wears Prada 2.
Of course.
Which I believe, Tim, you also saw, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay, great. We'll see if our conclusions align. I really liked it for a legacy sequel. I don't go into them with like a lot of hope anymore. But I thought it was fine. I mean, I don't think it's as good as the first one. I don't think there's just movies that are like kind of cemented as like classic comfort movies for me, and The Devil Wears Prada is one of those.
Mm-hmm.
But I really did like it. I think the direction they went with all the characters was fine. There wasn't anybody's story arc that I was like upset about. I think that if you're trying to transition from 2006 to 2026, I think that the 20-year gap that we've been away from these characters, where they are at currently in their life, seems realistic for all of them. So I'm good with that. I thought I thought the story it wasn't like super predictable to me where it was going to go. So I thought it was a fun movie. It was cute. I liked it. Can I give you my one complaint about it though? I wanted Meryl Streep to be meaner.
Yeah, they did definitely dial her back a little bit.
Yes, and I know that they kind of did that, not really a spoiler alert, but spoiler alert if you don't want to hear me say this. Throughout the movie, her assistant is kind of trying to keep her on a tighter leash with like PC, where she's like, "Oh, Miranda, you can't say that. Oh, Miranda, you can't treat people like this. Oh, Miranda, that's an HR nightmare."
She's like, "Well, I can't say New Jersey."
Yeah, we can't say New Jersey. So there are, like, I think maybe that's the reason for it, because she's trying to like bite her tongue a little bit more. But it didn't feel like Miranda was as like sharp as she was in the first one, which I kind of missed. I wanted her to be meaner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that. And I think part of that is the shifting in perception of her character from the first movie, because, I mean, she is the titular devil in the title,
Yes.
but ever since, I feel like perception of the movie's changed because, or at least the first one, because I feel like the movie kind of portrays her as the villain, even though she is sympathetic towards the end of it, as the antagonist, as the the mean shrew or whatever.
Sure.
And nowadays, people just call Nate the real villain of the movie, and
Well,
Miranda is a hero.
People love Miranda.
Yeah, Miranda's. I mean, I don't disagree that Miranda's like an anti-hero kind of character. Like, I like that, but I also think that she treats people like trash, and that's not okay.
For sure. But yeah, it was good. I was trying to find some like lines that were as quotable, that will be cemented in pop culture history as the first one was. There wasn't a ton of them. Emily Blunt had some good moments in that movie, though. I love her.
I don't want to spoil anything about the movie since it just came out, but I didn't really care with where they took her character in this movie.
Yeah, like you mean like the little twist with that?
Yeah, I don't know how much we want to go into it because it's kind of a reveal in the
Yeah,
movie,
we don't have to. But
but
yeah, I was
it kind of felt like character assassination to me.
a little bit. Yeah, I would agree with that too.
I mean, it didn't break the movie for me, and like I think Emily Blunt still did a really good job. I just I don't know, like I wanted to like that character more, even though she's always been kind of a flawed character. But I've always liked that she was flawed, and in this one, her flaws were a little bit harder to overlook in terms of the
Yeah,
choices she makes.
she was just kind of a worse person in this one.
Yeah. So I thought the movie was fine. Like it was good enough. I mean, I think it benefited from being made by the same people, by our director,
Hmm.
and the same stars. So I think that the love for these characters in the story was definitely evident. I don't know if I needed the movie, but I, had a good time with it. So yeah. My original pop culture shout out was going to be the Mall TV show, but I guess people are probably sick of us talking about Star Wars as it is. I finished it, and I'll just say it's great and go watch it.
Oh, good.
And I'm very excited to see where it goes after this because they're making more.
Oh, good. Okay.
But I guess I'll talk about the movie I saw today, which was Mortal Kombat 2.
I am going to that on Saturday. So,
Oh, how do you feel about the first movie, Tanner? Then the first one being the 2021 one.
oh, okay. Fine. I mean, that movie didn't blow me away at all. There was some like problems, but I just thought I went into it just wanting like a good popcorn stupid movie, and I had a lot of fun with it. So,
Yeah.
if
Uh,
this one gives me the same thing, if it gives me some good kills and some whatever, like that's all. I'm not really looking for a lot out of this movie.
then I think you're going to be pleased because I think this movie it's not for me, and neither was the last one. In fact, Mortal Kombat is not a property that I have really any history with. Maybe aside from playing an arcade here and there as a kid, but
Sure.
I think that if there is one good thing about it is that it is consistent with the last movie. So probably the best thing I can say is that if you liked the last one, you will probably like this one. If you didn't like the last one, you probably won't like this one. It's more the same. I do think though that it is a little bit of an improvement because um, whereas the last one, I think both movies have bad story problems in terms of like the narratives, but
Sure.
this one does at least have a better protagonist, or at least one of the protagonists, because in the last one I remember like all the characters I didn't really care about. In this one, Carl Urban's Johnny Cage is great, as
Oh,
advertised.
good. Good.
Like,
Good.
his charisma and bravado is a welcome addition. Very, very, and he nails it. Like he nails the attitude, and I think that's what that first movie was missing was that kind of wisecracking or you know comedic slanted character.
Sure.
And this movie delivers in that regard. So it does fix it in that sense. However, I mean, it is pretty vapid filmmaking. Like the story is nothing again. Like, and I don't really feel like the stakes really matter when certain things happen in this movie and certain things are done or undone or whatever. It just kind of rings hollow to me. So I won't lie, I was pretty sleepy during it just because I wasn't interested. But
Yeah.
but again, it's not for me, and I recognize that these movies are not made for me, and that's okay. I'm on the demographic, so it's probably the best Mortal Kombat movie. I'll say that.
Good. Well, yeah. I'll touch base next week when we do our pop culture shoutouts and tell you if I feel kind of the same.
Okay, yeah, I'd be interested to see what you said. My friend, who is uh, he grew up with these games, and he's a big fan of Mortal Kombat. Said that like he enjoyed it, like in terms of like how they portrayed the property.
Hmm.
He still thinks it's a bad movie, but he like enjoyed the bad movie. So
Well, sure. And yeah, and that's how I felt about the first one. Like, it wasn't a good movie, but it was what I was looking for out of that movie. So yeah, I was fine with it.
Yeah, and maybe that's the best thing you could say is that this movie understands what it is and doesn't try to be anything else, you know?
Yeah.
So even though I do have a lot of criticisms about it, I do think they made the movie they wanted to, you know? I don't think that they like it's not messy per se. It's a little
Yeah.
long, but it's not messy. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So if anybody listening out there liked the first one, I'd recommend it. If not, I don't.
Well, great.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Next week, look out. We are talking about It's All Come Down to This. The Mandalorian and Grogu. It's finally coming to an end, Tanner. Our Star Wars countdown is finally nigh.
And what do we what do we think, Tim? Do we think how do we think more Mandalorian's gonna do? Bop or flop?
You know, I mean, I think it'll be good, but I am worried about its box office prospects as the first Star Wars movie since this one. I mean, I think the window for a Mandalorian movie kind of passed because Mandalorian was at its highest in like 2021, 22-ish. And then like season 3 came out, and I feel like that season kind of took a lot of the wind out of its sails. We'll talk about Mandalorian, the show, in next week, but I feel like they missed their window for a Mandalorian movie.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I kind of had some of the same thoughts, so I just wanted to see if you were kind of in the same boat.
I feel like I feel like this movie would have to be incredible for it to, be a hit, to recapture the magic. I don't think this is going to be like one of the biggest hits of the summer. And honestly, if it made less money than Devil Wears Prada, I wouldn't be entirely surprised.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I would either.
I'm excited too, but just in terms of like how the fan bases are currently, their status are right now with the property, like
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to be the movie that like blows the summer open. So we'll see. I'm still looking forward to it. But and since listeners, this is going to be our first movie new release that we're doing. This is obviously we're going to do more of these as we go on. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for listening, and we hope you guys watch along with us, watch the next one. If you guys want to get in contact with us, I am on Letterboxd at TGMacman, TGMACMAN.
And as always, I am on Instagram, TanWilt.
This is also all in the description as well. You can also give us questions at backtothefranchise.com. Ask us whatever you want to ask us. We will answer it on the show. Also, rate and review. It helps us. And you know what? Even if you don't like us, what would be hilarious, Tanner? It'd be hilarious if the people who don't like us give us a 5-star review. Like,
Yeah,
I would find that very sarcastically ironic and hilarious.
Me too. I would also just like to say, you know what? Review bomb us. Review bomb us like The Last Jedi, but review bomb us in a positive way.
Oh, happy bombing. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being on this journey with us along Star Wars. We got one more week to go. But until next time, may the Force be with you.
See you next week.